Let's not stand on ceremony, mate. Let's start the show.
We would be honored if you would join us.
That's right. You can see us. You can hear us.
Yeah.
You can hear us talking over
A little
the.
behind the scenes. We want to give you guys every second of this beautiful image that you can get. You know,
Yeah.
I know it's only an hour a week, so we like to not take away that 30 seconds.
Give or
What's up,
take.
everybody?
Give or
What's up,
take.
Travis?
What's up? What's up, John? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Welcome to another week of Smash Cut. So what you been up to this last week? Anything cool? You're the celebrity of the duo here. You're on TV.
I hate that.
and-
Don't say that. That's
and
not
he's
true.
On, he's on social media.
It's not true at
Yeah.
all that I'm the celebrity of the two. No, it's been a pretty cool week, a busy week of movies, that's for sure. We had a couple weeks there where we didn't have all that much.
Yeah.
It was like one movie a week that was like a major film.
Right.
But the last couple of weeks it's been
Yeah, it's
It's
a
been-
total
been pretty
flip
busy,
of
so.
quantity over quality. Like at the end of the summer, there's always that one week where the last kind of major thing. And this year was Hobbs and Shaw, I'd say.
Hobbs and Shaw was the last
And then-
big movie.
It's like they just dump everything that was left over in the next week there. But
Yeah.
I saw Travolta was in town. Did you talk to him?
I did
How
talk to
what
Travolta
was that?
this
Was it
week.
totally weird? I don't have a Travolta. I don't know why I tried to do that.
was that a
Rockin' and
Travolta?
No,
that was
let's
a
just say it
Travolta.
wasn't. Let's just say I had something in my throat.
No, I did get to talk to Travolta about his film, The Fanatic. You know who directed The Fanatic, right?
No.
Fred Durst.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's Fred Durst, and he co-wrote it too. So Fred Durst directed and co-wrote it.
Wow.
And Travolta stars in it. And so yeah, he was in town to talk about that, which is surprised me because Travolta doesn't do a ton of interviews.
Right.
He's pretty infamous about that. Not infamous, but he just doesn't really do that many. But he came out for this one because him and Durst are friends, so he wanted to go on tour for it. So, but I didn't think he would come here for it though. At the very least,
Right.
Which surprised me. I don't know how much he's doing out west.
We get left out a lot in this area.
Yeah, we're DC. I mean, that's one of the things I've always kind of wanted to change. I had some pushback on that, but yeah, I'm not going to get into that conversation. But throw a lot of our colleagues under the bus.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave that alone. But yeah, he was in town. He was super nice,
Yeah.
incredibly
He seems
nice.
Now let me riddle me this: Is he nice, like in the way that Tom Cruise is nice, where you can tell he's super nice, but it's almost there's deadness in his eyes, where now it doesn't seem fake,
I
it
don't
seems robotic.
Yeah, see, I don't see that about Tom Cruise. I
do
think there was a period of time when he was really, when the Scientology stuff was really out there.
Yeah.
There was a period of time where I think he was kind of going through the motions.
Right.
I don't see that anymore. When I see, like when he was at Comic-Con a few weeks ago, didn't see that at all. He was genuinely excited to be there.
That makes
and
me
talking to
happy
people.
because those
So-
two guys have taken more shit than a lot of people, and I don't know the background about it. I don't follow like the paparazzi news that much.
Yeah, I mean, not that much.
Mostly because it can't be trusted at all. Well, not much news can these days, but it can't be trusted at all. So you never really know what's true. I don't like listening to it. But Tom Cruise and John Travolta to me always seemed like they were just really genuinely good people. Like Tom Cruise especially. I mean, like not Keanu Reeves level, but like I don't know. They just seem genuinely happy, nice people.
I've heard my share of horror stories about both of them in interviews and stuff that they've given to people in the past. But honestly, you catch anybody on a bad day, and you're gonna get a bad interview.
Well, yeah,
That's one of the things about The Fanatic that was interesting too. And I don't really want to talk about the movie that much, but because it's not out yet. But one of the things that happens in it, it's your basic premise of a fan of an actor sort of becomes a stalker of that actor.
And I know we can't talk about it because we're under embargo, but how much is it like? And I forget the name of the Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes movie
The fan.
with the fan. Okay,
Yeah,
so it was
The Fan.
free.
Yeah, I mean,
Anything-
it's a similar premise.
right.
I mean, what the Fanatic does a little bit different is that the quote unquote stalker is not really a stalker.
Right.
He's played by Travolta, as a guy named Moose, and he's very clearly on the spectrum. probably really,
Right.
really deep onto the spectrum, actually, to where he's borderline mentally ill.
Okay.
So he doesn't see the things that he's doing. He doesn't understand what he's doing. So his actions can be construed as ambiguous, you know, or certainly not to the point where he's
Not
at
malicious,
fault.
at least, I
Right,
guess.
exactly, not malicious. Now the actions of the actor, who was played by Devon Sawa, by the way. Devon Sawa's funny.
I didn't even know he was still alive. I thought no, that's
Dude.
Jonathan Brandis that killed himself.
Yeah, Jonathan Brandis is the one who died. Sequest DSV, Jonathan
Yeah.
Brandis. Devon Sawa was the Final Destination Casper guy.
Right.
Who was just in Escape Plan 3 with Sylvester Stallone, where he was the one who was in that real fight with.
That's
that little
right.
shot. That was
That's
Devon,
right.
That was
Yeah,
Devon
yep.
Sawa. Devon Sawa kind of took a break from acting. Now he's kind of come back, and he's been everywhere lately. In fact, I talked to Travolta about that, that Sawa was making a comeback. But the actor is, you know, he kind of, there's a scene where Moose goes to like a fan event for the actor.
Right.
And he's just had like this, a really, like something personal happened to him like minutes before that. So he's not in the best of frame of mind, the best mood.
Yeah.
So when Moose approaches him, he doesn't get the warmest response, you know? And all that stuff kind of, that happening kind of is what blows everything out of proportion. So their actions can be construed as like you said, not malicious.
Right.
But still, both of them are
Yeah.
at fault in some ways.
Well, I
So
always find that funny about critics and the media in general is that they completely forget. You know, we act like we're you know, not at fault for any of this stuff, and then it's like people completely forget what you just said. Like everybody can have a bad day.
I think you would be receptive to the fanatic more than a lot of people. Like like I said, I'm not
like
gonna
creepily follow stars?
I'm not gonna talk about my feelings about the movie, but I think you'd be receptive to the fanatic for some reason. I do.
Now I'm curious to see why that would be. I'm gonna watch it and then I'm gonna take it the wrong way and think you're saying I'm some kind of creep and all that stuff. But no, I mean during these press tours, especially, these guys come in and we don't talk a bunch about this stuff, but
Yeah.
they're basically on this tour where they're going day and night. They're staying in hotels away from their family. They start at 6 a.m. with the radio shows. Then they sit down for these round tables with anybody and everybody all day long for 12, 14 hours, answering the same questions 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I would make it about 6 hours before I blew up at somebody. How about you? How far would you get it?
I think I could be okay. Actually, I think
I
I'd be
wouldn't.
all right. Well, I mean, first of all, you see the hotels they put you up in, and so it's kind of hard to get angry when you're in the
True,
you know,
but
in the
after the
Ritz-Carlton.
10th five-star hotel, they all kind of seem the same, I'd imagine.
I suppose.
Right.
But I mean, that's part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the real part. You get
If you
paid
see,
for.
if you look at it from that approach, from that perspective,
Right.
that it's part of the job going on these tours and doing these things because you don't have to.
Right.
You know,
No,
you
yeah.
choose to, then you're making it part of the job. Then you ought to know how to be professional, and you ought to know that you're going to be talking to a stream of people. A lot of them are going to ask you the same questions. 'Cause that's kind of the way it's kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can't deal with that, then you're probably in the wrong line of work, or you should have stayed home.
See, for me, it wouldn't be the same questions in the long days. We both know in the area, and we won't name any names, obviously, but there are some kind of I mean, number one, there's people that just add inappropriate rude questions.
There
but
are
then there's,
there are shitty interviewers here in DC.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
There's shitty interviewers everywhere, but there are some shitty ones here. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. Why? I
We're
mean,
not gonna name names, but they're shitty. I've been in roundtables with them.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, seriously? That's why I don't do roundtables anymore. That's
Yeah.
why I told them I will never do another roundtable. Don't ask me.
Yeah,
Because
that-
I get always end up being with the, you know, the college kid who's doing interviews for his school paper, and I'm like,
Right.
nope.
Yeah.
Not gonna do that.
Well, yeah. I've been in some
More
bad
power
ones,
to
but
him.
That's what would lose me. But
I'm happy for him. I've done that too, but no,
yeah.
don't put me in that anymore.
Right. So yeah, bunch of stuff came out this week. I didn't get to see everything. Bernadette I missed. But I did see Good Boys. I did see The Blinded by the Light. Was really good. And 47
That's your
meters
review?
down. What's that?
That's your review. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. That's my review. It's Smash Cut for this week. We'll see you
So-
guys later. No, so we got those two things to talk about. There's some news out there, a lot of fun stuff going on. So,
Well, did you look at the box office this week? The box office was kind of brutal.
yeah, Hobbs
not
and Shaw's
for
still number one, right?
no.
Oh, Good Boys
no,
took
no,
it?
no. Yeah, Good Boys took it. it's brutal. Not for Good Boys,
Right.
Good Boys did fine. Good Boys did 21 million and took number one. Not a huge number, but Good Boys wasn't the movie that was supposed to be number one at all. It's an R-rated comedy with no stars in it. The biggest star in it is Seth Rogen. He's a producer.
Right.
So, I mean, it did 21 million. It knocked out Hobbs and Shaw, which fell to second. So I was happy to see that because I thought Good Boys was extremely funny, like all the way through funny, which is not something that happens all that often. And it's a good way to wrap up the summer. I think like summer's coming
Right.
to a close. We're about to turn the corner into more prestige dramas, things like that, more serious films.
Let's get silly
This is a
before we
good
get
way.
drama.
This is a good way to close out the summer with a movie about a bunch of kids, but a bunch of pre-adolescents,
Yeah.
talking about sex and all sorts of other shit they don't know nothing about,
Yeah. And,
which is why I liked it so much. Somebody was asking me, I did the lady who asked me on Good Morning Washington on Friday, and she asked me if this was if the movie is kind of creepy, not creepy, but weird because it's kids doing this material, and I was like, for me, I didn't think so.
Right.
And the reason why I didn't think so is because they're not a bunch of horn dogs. Like it's not super bad.
Yeah.
Where the two lead characters are on the verge of graduation, they're both horn dogs. That's kind of the way these movies tend to go. And in terms of
yeah.
the storyline is totally super bad. It's pure book smart. It's every other movie you've seen with that storyline. You know what that storyline is. But like I said, these are pre-adolescents. They're about 12, 13 years old. They're like sixth graders. They're about to go into middle school.
right.
So, but they're not horn dogs. So that they're talking about sex in a way that they completely don't understand any of it. Like they don't know anything. In fact, the whole plot of the movie is that they're about to go to a kissing party. They don't know how to kiss. So I mean, so when they talk about sex, it's not coming from a malicious place either. It's also not coming from a place where they're just trying to get laid. That would be creepy if this was what the movie was about, but it's
Right.
not. So in fact, most of the movie's humor comes from their lack of understanding of how to treat women, which I thought they're really good about that. No understanding of sex, no understanding of drugs, no understanding of anything.
So they were sixth graders, and that was my favorite thing about the movie is, when it honestly when I first
Heading
saw
into
the
middle school.
when I first saw the trailer, I thought to myself, I was like, it's funny, but trailers, it's supposed to show the best of the movie. All I could think
Yeah.
was, man, I hope they don't just try to make vulgarity funny. I think vulgarity is hilarious. Don't get me wrong, but when it's your own, when it's the crutch you
need more
stand
than
on,
that. You need more than that.
But then, I took like 10 minutes, and then I see the movie, and I realized about a quarter of the way through the movie that this stuff all seems familiar because it's very real. I mean, the way what you're saying is exactly right. They're talking about things in a way that they don't know about. They're not talking about things. There's not vulgarity and not I don't want to say graphic because there's no graphic stuff, but they're talking like real 13-year-olds would. They're saying things that I remember saying when I was 13 and having ideas that I remember having.
Really, which part was that? Which line was it?
I'm not putting that on air. I mean,
I'm trying to figure out which line they said.
Hey, man,
There was something
look,
you might have said.
if you want to get real, I remember the first time I looked at, everybody saw Playboy when they were younger, right? But Playboy's tasteful.
Yeah.
First time I saw a Penthouse.
My first one was Hustler. I actually never looked at Playboy. No,
Really?
that's not true. My dad had the Playboy with Vanessa Williams on it.
Yeah.
After she won Miss America.
Their celebrity pictorials were the best.
Yeah, they had that. I saw that one in the.
Yeah.
It was hidden in the basement, but it wasn't hidden well enough. And I saw that one. I was like, oh, okay.
That's the saddest thing about kids these days is it's all on the computer. They're not going to have that adventure of finding your dad's porn stash in the house. But anyway,
That is true. That is sad.
it is sad, isn't it? I mean,
That
that's
is
a rite
sad.
of passage. I mean,
Everybody
finding his
needs
hidden
that
folder, I guess. Is
Everybody
one thing,
needs
but-
that moment where their parents find their stash under the bed.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You
Yeah.
know? Everybody needs that. You're not going to get that anymore.
So, but I remember, and this is probably not a road I should have started going down, but I remember seeing a Penthouse for the first time, and they're full-on graphic in that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when I first got a glimpse of the female situation that I'd never seen before, I didn't know what the hell I was looking at, man. I thought it was like the Sarlacc pit from Return of the Jedi. Now, granted, Penthouse doesn't have the best representation. Like, you get some sloppy situations down there, but I didn't know what was going on, and like it bended my mind at how that stuff works.
Yeah.
And
I
maybe
mean,
that
I
was
went
just me.
straight from that Playboy to Hustler. So, I mean,
Yeah, you jumped in the deep end.
I jumped right in. I jumped in with both feet. So,
But yeah, and like you said, it's funny through and through. And most movies like this, they're one of two things. They either have a really solid middle 30 minutes, or they start strong and then drop off.
They can't
as you go.
sustain it. Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah,
it's tough to
it's
sustain.
really hard to sustain that
Yeah,
stuff.
I
And
think
they do.
this one does pretty well in sustaining that. There's a couple, couple jokes that don't land. Of course, that's just par for the course.
Right.
But for the most part, I thought it was really, really funny. The only thing that didn't really work for me was a couple of the chase sequences with the girls. There's a couple of girls there chasing these kids around, and I thought those didn't really work so well. But but the rest of it, yeah, that stuff was really funny, man. And if it was just Jacob Tremblay, cussing, it would be pretty lame. It would that kind of wears thin after a while.
Right.
And you get over that really quickly. Like it's the shock value of watching, Jacob Tremblay.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
the very first words out of his mouth in the movie are "fuck yeah."
And it's funny, the first 3 or 4 times, but that's another thing a lot of these
So-
movies do is they repeat jokes. And while this kind of
There's some pretty good
started
running
getting
gags.
close to over repetition, like it stayed a little bit away from it to make it not an issue.
There's
So-
some good running gags in it.
Now this I'm calling him a kid. The dude's probably like 25 now, but the little kid from Role Models. I wish this movie would have been made
God.
with him. Do you remember that kid?
Oh, I remember him
He was
fine.
hilarious.
I'm glad he's
haven't seen anything
glad
else.
he's out of the business.
Really? Why?
I found him annoying. I didn't like him.
Really?
Yeah, everybody else liked him. I thought he was annoying as shit.
Well, I guess my movie wouldn't work for you then, but I would have made this movie.
I'm glad
with him,
he wasn't in this.
so.
I'm glad he wasn't anywhere near this movie. I don't know where that kid is either. I know he got out of the business or something, but I don't remember why. So I don't know. Now I kind of want to look him up.
Yeah, because I mean,
Now I
he
kinda
had
wanna look
some
him
heat.
up.
You'd expect to at least see him in like 2 or 3 more movies.
Yeah, but
But,
I'm glad we don't. I'm glad
yeah.
we don't see him in anything.
And let me ask you what. And the other thing about Good Boys is that it proves a thing I always say, and a theory I always have is that
That was
you can
2008.
you can
Remember
repeat. That was 11 years ago.
That was 2008 Role Models.
Jesus, McGillicuddy. He's probably 30 by now.
Yeah, no shit.
Wow.
Bobby J. Thompson filmography. Oops. Let me look at this giant.
We're
his
looking up his
filmography?
filmography, but
Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking.
Good Boys has the single most used trope of any coming of age or teenage story. It actually combines 2 of them. So, but this proves what I always thought, that you can repeat the same story as somebody else has done 100 times as long as you do it in a way that works for the genre. If it's a drama, have the good performances. If it's a comedy, have good jokes. You can do it over and over again as long as you do something slightly
Shit.
new. And what?
He's working right now.
Oh, he's working right
He's
now.
on. He's on MTV's Wild and Out.
I haven't watched
As a recurring
MTV
cast
in
member.
probably.
I don't watch that shit either, but he's working is what
That's
I mean.
the,
But his last movie was he's apparently in Me and Earl and the Dying Girl somewhere. I don't remember who he was in that.
Well, he's probably older and we didn't recognize him. That's
I
probably
think
why.
that's probably true. Then he did School Dance in 2014. I think the movie that killed his career, and rightfully so, was Knucklehead in 2010.
Knucklehead.
That was
I
the
remember
WWE film that starred the Big Show.
Oh,
And
I do
it's
remember that. Yeah.
Fucking dreadful. And if you just look at the poster of the Big Show staying there in a diaper.
Oh yeah, it's.
Then
I
you
remember
know,
it. As soon as you
and-
said Big Show, I
and
remember what it was.
You can see the top of his head right there.
Oh yep, there he is. There he is.
If that's the movie that killed his film career,
It's
that's
okay.
good. That's okay.
Yeah, you
that's
have
good.
some penance to
That's
work
good.
out.
It should happen that way.
But so it repeats these 2 tropes. Number 1 is the young boys on some kind of sexual quest, even though it's not sex, but it's sexual quest. And then I broke something on my parents, I need to pay for it.
Yes.
Can't Buy Me Love was one of my undercover favorite movies of the 80s.
With that girl,
I think that one started it.
that girl who Patrick Dempsey was with, who was hot, and didn't she die?
She did just recently, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh, way to bring the room up, man. But so they repeat that, but it's the way they do it works for what it is. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad to see
Oh,
it do well
you know
at the
what we've
box
got to do?
office.
And there's some pictures of Good Boys.
Aw. We did forget to show the pictures of Good Boys,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Oh well,
The-
better late than never.
And I can't remember the black kid's name in Good Boys, but he's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
He's hilarious. I said he could be the next Craig Robinson. They had the same type of humor, and
Well,
it's not just the fact that they kind of look the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
it's
thought-
actually because they actually, and he may have been trying to do a Craig Robinson. If I'm not,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if you
I
call
think
it
he.
dry humor, but
It is. It's
yeah.
dry humor. It's dry humor. And that's the kind of thing that Craig Robinson does brilliantly, and that this kid was doing it as well.
Right.
Yeah, so going back to Good Boys was, if you haven't seen Good Boys yet, I would say go check it out. But going back to the box office, it was kind of rough for all the new movies except for Good Boys.
Yeah.
Angry Birds movie 2, 16 million, and it came out on Wednesday. Damn. Which is not great. I haven't seen either one of those, so fuck those movies. 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, actually did okay. 9 million. That's not great, but the movie cost like $5 million.
Yeah, so they're already in the green almost, or in the black or red.
Yeah.
I don't know money.
Yeah, so, and I'm a little upset they didn't screen it for us. I know they screened it out in L.A., but they didn't screen it for us, so I'm a little upset because I got to pay to see it because I do want to see it.
The first one was surprisingly good.
First one, it didn't cost anything either, and it made like 40 million.
Yeah.
Or I think it made 60 million worldwide, 40 million here. Mm-hmm. But it did really well. And this one might leg it out and do well too. Blinded by the Light, which I suppose is the next movie we should talk about. Mm-hmm. But Blinded by the Light shit the bed with $4.4 million.
I
and
wish
this
I could
is
say I'm surprised, but
I'm not.
You got a movie that's London based and didn't have a lot of marketing. You had Bruce Springsteen role in it, but that slideshow picture didn't work out too well.
No, it didn't.
Well,
it didn't work out at all. Oh well. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So it's for anybody that doesn't know, it's about I don't remember if he was born in Pakistan or in London, but it's about a Pakistani teenager in London in the 80s who's having a hard time, discovers Bruce Springsteen's music, and it changes his life, basically. So, based on that, there's been a flow of these music-based films, whether you're talking about the Beatles movie.
I think that's a big reason why people didn't go see it yesterday.
Yesterday.
I think that's a big reason why people didn't go see this one. There's a couple of reasons why I think, and I actually just tweeted this a little while ago. Mm-hmm. One, I think people were kind of gun shy after yesterday. While I enjoyed that movie, a lot of people did not enjoy it. I think people are like, do I really want to go and see another one of these movies about somebody who's, that has like based around a group's music or a singer's music,
right,
and telling a fictional story around it, but although this story is real, it's based on fact.
Oh,
but,
this one is.
This is a true story.
Oh,
this is a true story. You didn't see the guy? They showed him at the end of the movie.
When the credits roll,
run out of there?
Yeah, as soon as I know it's done, I'm up out of my seat. Only Marvel keeps me in there for a second.
It's a true story. But I think people are kind of gun shy about it. Going to see another movie like that. But I also feel like culturally, this is the wrong time, and
See, I would think that culturally it was the right time because it deals with, immigration and the trouble that.
Yeah, you think that makes it the right time? I don't mean to laugh at you, but
it makes it timely. I would say.
Timely.
It's not speaking directly towards what we're doing here, but it highlights the troubles that immigrants have and how things could.
My approach to that was that I don't feel like a lot of people want to see a Pakistani adopt the very American sound of Bruce Springsteen for himself. I don't think a lot of people want to see that. Now, do I mind seeing it? No. Is there a other half of the country who does not? Probably.
I just don't understand that shit sometimes. So you're saying
really? You think with all the hatred that's been going on around there towards anybody who's brown, you think that people want to go and see a brown person, Pakistani?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't understand
you don't
why
understand
that
those
would
people.
bother people. Like,
you don't understand those people.
Like honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, and let me switch it back to full view.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that slideshow right there.
I've never understood like the cultural appropriation thing. If I'm being honest, like if it's a way to what's the word I'm looking for? Exploit it or make fun of it. I get why that's bad, but like if I want to take part in your culture, if I want to understand your culture and be ingrained with it and you might use it's not the right word, but you know what I mean. I don't see why that's a problem for some people. But and in the same case, I would say if I see somebody that's different, taking something that's similar to me, I'm like, man, we are similar. We like the same thing.
That's the immigrant story in a nutshell. I mean, that's
it's the melting pot. That's why I don't understand.
Yeah, but people don't believe in the melting pot anymore. That's the problem. Those people don't. Those people who used to probably grow up like you and I did, hearing about the melting pot, are now saying we should change the words of the Statue of Liberty. So the melting pot doesn't exist anymore for about half the people in this country. Maybe let's just say let's call it 40% of the country.
Right.
So if I factor that in, which I do, I think there's a lot of people who do not want to go see this movie, and
Yeah.
for that very reason, as sad as that may be.
I hope that's not. I mean,
It's
you're
not-
probably right. I'm kind of naive with that stuff because I don't understand it. Never have. And
This
I don't
is
know.
different than this is the same director who did Bend It Like Beckham,
Right.
And it's telling a very similar story,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a big difference from Bruce Springsteen to football,
yeah,
which is international in itself. You know,
That's true.
Bruce Springsteen is as American as apple pie to a lot of people. You know,
Yeah.
and they see it solely as that. They
So it's
don't
like,
see they don't
it's my
see it
thing, you
as
can't use
right.
it.
Exactly. And I think
fucking
that's it's sad, but I do believe that's a factor. Do I believe it's the only factor? No. Like I said, I think people are kind of sick of these music-based movies right now. Going back to
more because it was like a British movie.
going back to Bohemian Rhapsody, to Rocket Man, to Yesterday, to this. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I know the two of them, those are biopics, but they're all about a singer's discography.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's what the movies are all centered around. I think people are just kind of maybe a little bit worn out, maybe just a little bit tired of it. You
Yeah,
know?
and I mean it's unfortunate.
Probably need a break.
For this. I mean, I will get into how you felt about it as well, but it's unfortunate for this movie because I really like. I've always loved the fusion of movies and music. I
Yeah.
think. I mean, if you've ever seen one of those YouTube videos where they show an intense scene with no music and seeing the effect it has, the right song in the right scene can just completely transform what you're watching.
Yeah.
And likewise, the story itself about how this guy's using music that inspires him to change his life is something I think everybody can relate to, regardless of where you
Absolutely.
come from.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's not anybody that's been having a bad day and had the transformative property of hearing the right song in your car at the right time is something that's just one of the mysteries of the world of how that works. But that's what I thought was so beautiful about this movie. Yeah, there's been a lot of music movies, but nothing that tackled this kind of thing and in this way. I mean, and this
Yeah,
is a
well,
guy
this is a
who-
personal story. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's it's a coming of age story, but it's about how Bruce Springsteen's movie. This is set in the 1980s during the Margaret Thatcher era, racially polarized London. And it's
I didn't know that either.
yeah, it's
Thatcher, was that her fault?
everything is Margaret Thatcher's fault over there.
Right on.
But that particular time period, I mean, there was
Yeah.
a lot of racial division. There still is some racial division over there. The unemployment was skyrocketing was another thing that was a big problem during that particular period of time.
Right.
This movie deals with all of that, and the main character is Pakistani and trying to fit in, but facing these things. And Bruce Springsteen's music speaks directly to these issues.
Yeah.
A kid from Asbury Park, New Jersey. He's trying to find himself in a place that's. It seems to, if you were born there, it probably felt designed to keep you caged in,
Yeah.
to keep you there.
Right.
And he's trying to break out from where he is as well, and he's going through the exact same thing. So Springsteen's music speaks directly to him, and it doesn't really matter where you're from. Everybody can relate to that.
And that-
So I mean, not everybody, but most of us can relate to that. I can relate to that. I'm sure you can
Anybody
relate
that
to that.
doesn't
We can all
block it
relate to that.
themselves should be able to. I mean, that's the thing is that, and that's what, and I'm kind of weaving between race relations and movie reviews here, but like this is what I don't get is like right there what you just said boils it down that regardless of what people look like, we're not effing different. You know what I mean? Like if you're a kid from Asbury Park, New Jersey that feels stuck there, or if you're a Pakistani kid in London and you feel like an outsider, it's the same feeling when you boil it down. It's the same thing. That's the whole point of the movie is that he relates to Bruce Springsteen, and it's not a movie cliche. It's true. I mean, that's why that happens. I don't know. That's why I just don't understand.
Yeah,
that stuff.
I mean, I still didn't think the movie was amazing. I thought it was good. I thought it was a crowd-pleasing film. I enjoyed it. I left with a smile on my face.
Right.
But it's still pretty thin. I mean, it's it's very familiar for the most part. I don't feel like his story necessarily is unique.
Right.
Like I didn't feel it was unique. I'm not a huge fan of the lead actor, if I'm honest. I like the supporting cast around him a lot.
Yeah, I
The
can
lead
see that.
actor's fine. Kind of bland, but he's fine. So I got some issues with it. But if you're looking for something just to make you feel a little bit better about your day,
Yeah, it's
you
uplifting for sure.
can definitely do worse than Blinded by the Light. It's fun. It's really, if you love Springsteen music, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm not.
Springsteen.
I never really understood why he was a superstar he is, but he's got great music.
There's a
I
great.
mean-
You don't understand why he's a
Well, I mean, he's
superstar.
like people are like the boss, man. Like he's the
You know what?
rock and roll Jesus.
For exactly the same reasons that this guy fell in love with it.
Yep, that's probably true.
You know,
Yeah.
he speaks to them.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it works.
I'm just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
There you go.
Took a
The
midnight train.
sequence where they run through the town
Yeah.
to Born to Run
Yeah.
is by far the best sequence of the movie for me.
Oh,
I thought that was
absolutely,
great.
yeah.
I love montage sequences like that anyway. But that was like the perfect song for the perfect moment of the movie.
Yeah. It was on the nose, but
Great.
not in a way.
Oh yeah,
that,
it's on the nose, but you kind of wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Born to Run had to be that. Born to Run had to be something like that. You don't want him just listening to it on his headphones like,
Yeah.
no, I want him to be doing something during Born to Run.
I mean, it's not even an issue really, but it's part of the reason I didn't realize it was a true story, other than the fact that I didn't really look into it at all afterwards. Is everything's tied up so nicely at the end, it's one of those movies that feels like, oh, that's awesome, and I feel better about myself, but real life doesn't really nicely wrap itself up like that. I know I won't go into any spoiler territory, but now I'm interested to read the real story and see how
I
far
mean, it's
they
a book.
shredded from it.
It's a book, so you should probably read the book.
Seems like
I'm pretty sure it's a book anyway.
There's probably a Wikipedia article on it.
There probably is.
Yeah.
You should read
I'll do that.
probably read the book. You should
So-
probably read the book.
Did you see anything? Did you see the Bernadette movie? I always forget the rest of the
Yeah,
title.
yeah. Where'd you go, Bernadette?
There you go.
It's shit.
It
It's
is?
not very good, and it really tanked at the box office this week. Just 3.4 million, and I'm not surprised. I mean, this movie looked like a disaster from the beginning, which is sad because it's Richard Linklater, number one,
Right.
but also it's Kate Blanchett, it's Billy Crudup, it's Kristen Wiig, Judy Greer. It's got a fantastic cast, but this one always smelled like a disaster in the making for me. The book is notoriously difficult to adapt.
Right.
It's written in such a way. In fact, there are reports that came out within the last few days about the problems Linklater had, like some of the behind the scenes squabbles and trying to figure out how to adapt it. But in the book, the character played by Bernadette, who is this agoraphobic architect, she runs away from her family basically to go and kind of rekindle her passion, find herself, whatever. She does the whole Walter Mitty thing, basically. And she just leaves them high and dry, so that they got to go and try to find out what happened to her. I think that's a shitty thing to do, frankly.
A little bit.
But but the movie doesn't do a very good job of explaining that well, and they don't do a very good job of making me excuse it
Yeah, it's kind of hard to identify with
at
somebody that
all.
does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It came off like bullshit. No, I forgot what I was going to say about it.
I think
forgot what I was
you
gonna
nailed it
say.
on the head in the beginning when you said
Yeah.
this was shit.
It is shit. I mean,
All right.
the main problem with the movie that I had was what I just finished saying, but also that her character, who I know they wanted to make, they were hoping that she came across as kind of quirky,
Right.
and maybe a little bit abrasive. She came up like a stuck-up bitch. I mean, frankly, that's
Yeah.
what she did. I mean, I don't like to use that kind of phrasing or that about people, but that's how she came across. She was not likable at all, and that's a big problem. That's a big problem if you're the lead character's unlikable. But
Yeah.
what I was actually going to say is that in the book, that character Bernadette is not in the story for like 200, 300 pages. She's not there at all. You have no idea where she is.
She's like the MacGuffin.
Right. You have literally no idea where she is. You're basically just following the father and the daughter trying to find her, but you don't know where she is. So what they did was they changed it so that you're actually following her. You're like with her on this journey along the way. But so they changed that, and I don't think a lot of people who read the
Yeah.
book are fans of that.
When I think that's if you're following her, I mean that's probably why she comes off as so stuck up and so bitchy is because if you're following her, the filmmaker's forcing you to be that's the person you're identifying with. Whereas if you're following the father and the daughter, you're identifying with them and it's easier to do. So she shouldn't have been the main character. I mean, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but you don't cast Kate Blanchett and not make her the star of the movie.
Right,
That's
but
the problem. That's the
also-
problem they faced.
You also don't cast Kate Blanchett, as wonderful as she is, you don't cast her in a role that she really has to win people over with herself, because she's one of those people that's got an aura like when she is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but there's something about her look that says this lady could be mean. This lady could be the villain. You know what I mean?
I think what they were thinking was, and this is justified. She's not particularly likable in a movie like Blue Jasmine either.
Right.
At least initially. but she does eventually win you over. She won an Oscar for that. Remember? I mean, people
Yeah, she did.
people like her in that movie. The character comes across as eventually becomes somebody that you can understand.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that does not happen in this movie. It doesn't happen.
Forgot that part.
So, yeah, it doesn't happen here.
Sounds like it should have been canceled, like another movie.
Oh, you're talking about The Hunt.
When politics.
Is that what you're talking about, The Hunt?
Is this?
Why can't we get away from politics today?
I don't know, man. My
I come here so I don't have to think about politics. I think about politics all week.
That's a
As much
good
as I think
question.
about movies, I think about politics just as much, if not more. And this is annoying. This
And they've
pisses
gotten
me off.
intertwined so much that it's pissing me off. You have to intentionally try to avoid politics when you're talking about movies because it's not just stuff like this, but it's like I think it's because modern politics has become so unbelievable and unrecognizable that you just assume you're watching a movie. It's become entertainment. I mean, honestly, politics has become entertainment for a lot of people. I mean, it's about it's about more than this. I'm not minimizing it for anybody, but for a lot of people, it's almost turned into like Sunday Night Football. Like, well, my team's gonna win. My
That's
team's
what it
gonna
is.
win. Yeah,
That's what it is. For politics is sport.
Right.
Politics is blood sport. Is what it is. And I've always said that if I ever got into politics, I would practice smash mouth football, which is I would destroy the opponent. And I know that's what I would do.
right.
So I understand people who are in politics now who practice that too.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But, it's annoying to watch on the outside and being like, why can't y'all do something about this?
Yeah.
Or this, why can't you guys come together for this issue or that issue or whatever? Why can't you do it?
Right.
But whatever. That's not been the case for the 42 years that I've been alive, so I don't know why I should expect it. But anyway,
So The Hunt is
So
about
The Hunt.
it's like a satirized version of killing a right winger.
most dangerous game. Basically, it was initially titled Left versus Right or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a version of the most dangerous game, and it's like I think 12 strangers who wake up in a strange place, and they are being hunted by rich elite liberals, and apparently in the screenplay they refer to them as deplorables. Now
Okay.
I don't know, nobody has proven that
The
yet.
hunted or the hunters?
The people who are being hunted
Right,
are
okay.
referred to as deplorables. Now, I've not seen any proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not mentioned in either of the promos. Any of the promos that have come out, none of that stuff is mentioned. If you watch the promos, it just looks like a generic "let's hunt down these people" movie,
Right. Yeah.
But ultimately, Universal canceled the movie. So Universal was Paramount. This is Paramount. Canceled the movie after there was after the two mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton.
Right.
Because this movie is a very violent film. I understand pushing that back for that reason. I wouldn't outright cancel. I think that's bullshit. But the reason why they canceled it on top of that is because, and they won't admit to this, is because Trump came out and started talking about violence in Hollywood as a reason for the mass shootings, which is total bullshit, of course. And then right-wingers got it in there, found out that this movie was about killing, quote-unquote, deplorables
Right.
from wealthy elites, by wealthy elites. And they turned it into a whole big thing about how right-wingers about conservatives are being targeted.
Hey, interrupt for a second. Does
Basically.
Flint, Michigan have clean water yet? What the fuck are they worried about movies for?
No, they don't.
Why-
They don't
why?
have clean water yet.
What- you know-
I agree with you 100% that no, this is, and the thing that got me, and this is what I had posted about, is this storyline
Yeah.
is not that crazy. Okay?
No, it's not.
It's not that crazy. There's an entire series of movies called The Purge, which is about rich white people in government using a holiday to kill poor people.
Yeah.
And there have been 5 of them. And a TV series
Yeah.
on that exact premise. Rich white people in government killing minorities and poor people. That's
Right.
what it is. That's not. And then nobody said word one about that.
I mean, this is the
So
thing.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just politicizing the movie to use as a scapegoat. That's really all it is.
Right.
So I was really upset when Paramount canceled it over this very reason. Now we learned a little bit more. There was one story that came out that said they were always planning on canceling the movie, which is horseshit.
How you gonna
They were
always plan on canceling
not
the movie? Why would you
always-
make it?
I know they were not always planning to do it. That's nonsense. And there was another story that came out maybe a day or two later that they had begun receiving death threats once people found out what the movie was about, that they started receiving death threats. Now that I do believe that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to minimize death threats either,
Yeah.
but if you're in the public eye, you cannot do anything without getting a death threat. You
Right.
know?
And I still say in that case, you still release the movie.
Yeah.
You still release the movie because what you're doing is by canceling it is you're emboldening those people to do this for every movie that they don't like. And considering the way toxic fandom is right now, you think this shit won't happen again and again and again, and it won't be on a movie like this. It'll be on a Star Wars movie. They'll be mad because there's a female lead. We've already seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen that game play out. We've seen that already. Or it'll be The Little Mermaid because it has a black woman playing the mermaid.
Yeah.
We'll see this. People will start calling in death threats. Then what are you going to do? You're going to cancel every movie? I mean, you can't. You give in once, you might as well give in forever. And I just don't.
It's
That's
also
why I'm
negotiating
upset.
with terrorist thing, and
You just don't do it.
First of all, I'm pissed that this is canceled for two reasons. Betty
The
Gilpin,
movie looks awesome, and Betty Gilpin is
and
great.
number two, Hollywood has had a serious drought of rich people killing poor people for sport movies. I'm going to take you back to 1994, I think it was. 1993, 1994. Hard Target, Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is after The Greatest Game, obviously. Hard Target comes out and starts a wave of rich people killing poor people for money movies. You have
Hostel did it?
Hard Target, Hostel. You have Judgment Night. You remember that Ice-T movie?
Oh
Judgment
yeah,
Night?
oh yeah.
The Pest.
I saw that movie twice in a day. I
Did
liked
you
it
really?
So much.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
that movie. Yeah.
I love that film.
The Pest, which was
Jeremy
not quite
Piven.
such a serious version of it. I mean, there was that was like a pretty standard movie storyline back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, for a while, and I honestly,
It's the whole political angle that throws people off.
But you know what? I mean, and this is the same thing as what I'm saying about the politicians doing it. The other part of this is the people that go on board. Like, don't people have more important things to do with their life? I'd spend most of my life. Movies have always been my favorite thing. I love movies, but even I'm going to tell you, there's more important things to life.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
and another factor here that keeps getting looked over is the liberals aren't the heroes of this story.
yeah.
The liberals are the villains of this story.
Anybody that
They're
saw
not
one of these
being portrayed.
Yeah.
You can just look at the trailers and see that the liberals are not being portrayed as heroes for killing these people.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they are deplorables or conservatives, whatever, if they are,
That would make the liberals the bad guys.
Betty Gilpin is kicking their ass throughout the entire entire teaser. It's
Yeah.
like, don't you want to see them go out there and kill the liberals for being dumbasses, for being evil? Yes, of course. I want to see it. I'm a liberal.
Yeah.
I want to see them get killed. If they're doing something like this, I want to see them get killed. So I mean, the whole thing is skewed, man. The whole thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it almost it pushes forth this narrative that as long as they're on your side, you can do whatever you want. But at the same
Oh, yeah.
time, it furthers this whole blaming things other than what need to be blamed, like the video game thing, the
Ugh.
movie thing. You know what? If you're in a place that you're going to be that easily swayed by 2 hours or 8 hours in a video game's case of media, then you are on your way there anyway.
yeah.
If the only thing I will
We
say
all
could possibly
know.
happen
We all know it's nonsense.
was that.
We all know it's nonsense.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm like, why are people still saying it? Why do people get it? Why are there committees and leagues about talking about it? Like the only thing I will say that a movie or a video game can do, and I'm going to steal this from Scream. Movies and video games don't create killers. Movies and video games can make killers more creative. That's all they can do is give them an idea of how to do something. They're going to do
Yeah.
something anyway.
Yeah.
So
Movies can look. Movies can influence you to do all sorts of different things.
yeah,
They don't influence you to kill.
right.
The
That's-
Fast and the Furious, the 2001 movie, influenced me to go buy a car.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I buy a car? Yes, I did. Was it totally because of Fast and the Furious? No. Was I already thinking about getting a car? Yes.
Also,
Did that
was that
movie?
gonna
Did that
change
movie?
your life
Did that
forever?
movie? Did that movie kind of push me over the edge to say, I really want to get a car?
Yeah.
Yes. And I went and did it. But if you're already at the point where a movie can push you to go kill people,
Yeah.
you're already going to go kill people. It may have, like you said, it may have given you an idea on how to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
that's the
already
thing that
gonna do
everybody
it.
overlooks with all of this stuff is like that's a pretty big freaking step to kill somebody or kill
Yeah.
a bunch of people.
It's not
Like,
an average thing. It's not like a movie about. It's not like going to see the founder and then going outside to go buy a Big Mac.
Yeah,
It's not. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a step, and that's why like the fact that none of these conversations, and goddamn, we're swinging back into politics. Bring
This is
up
a
mental
political
health.
subject. This is a political subject.
Yeah, I mean the fact that none of these things bring up mental health, the obvious middle part of it all. Yes, we need gun control. Any responsible. I'm a gun owner. I own 4 or 5 guns actually, way more than I probably need, or than I definitely need. But as a responsible gun owner, I can tell you, I'm the first one in line to say, you know what? You need to be thoroughly checked before you get anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a freaking.
But the reason
firearm.
why people bring up mental illness is because they know mental illness can't really is a situation that you can't really do anything about. Like you can throw all the money at it you want. You can start all the programs. You
Right.
want. Mental illness is never going to go away. That's why they say it. They don't say it because they actually want to do anything about mental illness. The same people who say that are the same people who keep cutting funding to it every single year.
Right.
So they don't really want to do anything about mental illness. They say that because it's a hurdle that they know they can't be overcome. Every country in the world has mental illness. We're the only one that has the gun issues, though.
Right.
Like
No, yeah, I get it.
mental illness is everywhere. That's worldwide. That is throughout history. Mental illness will never go away. It's everywhere. But we're
Right.
the only ones who, every time there's a mass shooting, people start screaming about mental health. That's not the issue. Mental health isn't the issue.
Well,
So,
I mean, it
it's
isn't
just-
the fact
it's
that anybody
ridiculous.
that does that's got a serious mental health issue, and
People-
something's pushing people to do this now.
People who have mental health problems shouldn't own guns. Period.
Absolutely.
But they're not the ones who are statistically they're not the ones who are going out and committing mass shootings. People who commit mass shootings are there because they're like normal people. They're just normal people. They're people who get angry and get mad over something. They feel disgruntled.
But yeah, but a
That's
normal
what they do
person
it.
doesn't. I mean, that's where you break the line. A normal person is a normal person never goes that. I mean,
Do you know how the majority?
That's-
You know how people get killed most of the time with guns? It's an argument that gets out of control, but somebody has a gun.
right?
That's how it happens. If you and I got into an argument right now
Mm-hmm.
and got into a fight and one of us had a gun, somebody's probably going to draw that gun.
Oh yeah.
That's the way it is.
the one-on-one
That's the way this
fights, yeah.
happens. That's the way this happens. People get angry. They get disgruntled. They've lost their job. They got a divorce. These are the things that drive people
pushed
to commit
over the edge, yeah.
Right. They get pushed over the edge. That's not a mental illness thing. That could happen to me. That could happen to anybody. Now, I'd like to think that I'm not crazy enough to go out there and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody can get pushed over the edge. It happens to everybody. That stuff doesn't just happen one day to the next. It gets built up over time.
Yeah.
That's not a mental illness thing. But these people who commit these mass shootings, that's what they do. These things build up to them, and they get pushed over the edge, and they commit crimes like this. Oftentimes, they do it so that they think they're going to get killed in the process.
Yeah, it's true.
That's why they do it.
Yeah.
It's suicide by murder. You know?
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what these people do. It's not always about mental illness. I agree with you. Mental illness is a factor. It is a thing that needs to be taken care of. But when it comes to the mass shootings, mental illness isn't the thing. They bring it up because they know it's something that can't ever truly be overcome.
Right. Well,
It's an impossibility.
I think more importantly, and I didn't mean
It's
to
a
send you down that
distraction.
road,
It's
but
a distraction.
I mean, I think the fact that and I don't know how this turned into a gun control debate. I'm not debating at all because the simple fact is,
I don't know. It's
it
crazy.
seems ridiculous. Like you need to.
Why does it
I
say
saw somebody
Bullman
one
on here?
time say, oh, well, cars kill more people. I can use a car to run people over. And like, yeah, you gotta get a license to have a car. You gotta get checked and renewed.
I believe guns should be treated exactly like cars.
I think they should be treated more, more strictly than cars. I mean, it's a simple.
I'm with that
and
too.
actually, I think it was you I was talking to one time who I was saying something, and you were like, hey, I don't remember what exactly it was. We were talking about guns, and you said, guns are made with strictly one purpose, and I can't argue that point. I mean, a gun is made to kill.
Right.
I don't use mine to kill. I like shooting at targets. It's something I find fun and stress relieving. But with that being said, if it's causing an issue like it is, and that's what's decided, I can find some other way to but I mean, there's a lot of factors go into it,
Right.
and we probably want to talk about what do we got? What do we got?
What did you put on here? You put Obi-Wan
Yeah,
on here.
let's oh I have the best slideshow
What is
today.
that?
That's his head. There
I
he is.
know what it was. Like what?
They're all sized wrong. I don't know what happened.
Even the top of Ewan McGregor's head on
Oh
there.
Jesus!
I
That's
hope it goes
fun.
back up again 'cause that was funny. Oh,
Yeah.
there he is. Oh, see, he's coming back. He's going to be Obi-Wan again.
How long has it been since they started? Since the rumors about him coming back for Obi-Wan.
It's been like 10 years.
Yeah, literally.
It's been forever.
I mean, and obviously he was I'm not sure what this is.
I don't know what that image is, but I'm going to take it off.
Yeah, well, you just get to look at us the whole time. I mean, obviously he was the best part, the most iconic part of the prequel trilogy. I mean, I know people have their problems with it. I've always really liked the prequel
Bad.
trilogy. I loved
It's bad.
it. Well, it all depends on what you like out of Star Wars. Like I always loved the Force and
It's bad.
lightsabers and the Jedi.
So you like midichlorians.
So I
That's
can
the
ignore
Force.
certain things. I can ignore certain things. You know,
You tell me that your favorite part was the Force, and then I'd say midichlorians was part of that.
well, fair enough. But the worst Star Wars movie of all, Attack of the Clones, widely agreed worst of all,
Yes.
still has its redeeming quality. Nowhere
There are
else you're going to
redeeming
see
qualities.
75 Jedi, lightsabers blazing, running at each other, and a fish man pushing things over and then smiling at the camera. It's crazy. But long way to say, Obi-Wan was always the best thing. I mean,
He's better than
You-
Darth Maul?
yeah,
Okay.
he's better by 2. Or maybe Darth Maul is because he's in 2 pieces.
Well, he's not 2 pieces anymore.
Well, yeah, now he's wait, did he have the spider legs in Solo? I don't remember. Or was it just regular legs? Because in the cartoons...
No, at that point, he'd already come back. He'd already got rid of his spider legs. He had, like, bionic legs or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Got to watch Clone Wars for all that stuff and
Yeah.
Rebels. And
And it's
Yeah.
it's really cool how they
Pretty cool.
just threw the big middle finger to George Lucas killing off one of their coolest characters and said, nope, we're bringing him back anyway.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan and really inspired casting if you think about it, but prior to Star Wars, nobody had seen. I mean, I'm sure he's had a beard at some point, but nobody saw that look on Ewan McGregor. You saw him in Train Spotting, and that was pretty much his biggest role before that. And then you look at him in Revenge of the Sith with his hair cut short in a side-by-side with Obi-Wan, which you would have seen in our slideshow, except for it was zoomed in way far. You could only see Alec Guinness. But he legit looks like a younger version of Alec Guinness. I mean,
Yeah.
he fits it so well. His performances were amazing. They were on point. He had the perfect, reserved, genuine, kind feeling that Obi-Wan should have. And now we're finally finding out after all this time that we're getting a Disney Plus show starring Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yeah.
My thing is, and people are so excited. I'm excited about it too. But like, we saw his arc. He went to the desert, and he watched Luke. I mean, are we gonna watch him fight Tusken Raiders for 20 episodes?
I mean, there's.
I might be all right with that actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole period of time there between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yeah.
There's a whole period of time. We don't know what he was doing all those years.
Right.
You know.
Well, and they've
On-
made
was it
stories
on
like
Tatooine. Is it Tatooine?
Tatooine. Yeah. I mean, I
Tatooine.
guess I always just
all
assumed-
those years. We don't know what he was doing. You know, he wasn't just sitting around in a cave.
Well, that's what I assumed the whole time. I thought he was just sitting crisscross applesauce talking to Qui-Gon Jinn in his cave because you can't leave Tatooine because then Luke's unguarded, and that's the whole point of being there. But, obviously, I'm, not in Hollywood right now, and I'm not in a writer's room, so they probably know better than me. And I'm sure they're going to take it there. But this Obi-Wan news just only served one purpose to me. I mean, well, two. It made me excited about it, number one. But number two, it reminded me about how psyched I am for The Mandalorian. And do we know when Disney Plus is launching? Because that's on at
Disney,
launch,
well,
right?
Disney Plus launches in November.
Okay.
This coming November. I don't know if The Mandalorian will be there right at launch. It might be. Yeah, I think it will be because they already started on season 2. So I think that it might be there at launch. The first thing I thought of was about fucking time.
Yeah.
But but this goes back to this whole thing. This was a couple years ago. This would have been a movie. In fact, that was the intent. Stephen Daldry was attached to it at one point, and he was going to direct it. He was going to direct it. But all this changed when Solo bombed.
Yeah.
Because you remember, because they were talking about, God, every other fucking week it was another Star Wars spin-off idea. All right, we're going to do the Boba Fett movie, and then there's
Yeah.
going to be the Obi-Wan movie. There's a Yoda spin-off too.
Nien Nunb, the
Yeah,
co-pilot
all
of
these
Millennium Falcon.
all these goddamn Star Wars spin-offs they kept talking about. And then Rogue
Yeah.
One came out, and Rogue One kicked ass. And it was like, yeah, all these spin-offs. And there was no Disney Plus at that time either. There was
Right.
no talk. There was no Disney streaming at that point either. So your only other outlet for more Star Wars was these a Star Wars story spin-offs. And then Solo came along and shit the bed. And then they were like, oops.
Ooh, our
Well,
most charismatic character just didn't work as a solo.
so let's take all those ideas and table them for now. And
Right.
so that Boba Fett movie, let's do a TV series. Let's do the Mandalorian. Okay, yeah, there you go. The Obi-Wan movie we kept talking about. Okay, yeah, let's turn it into a 6-part series. Okay,
Right.
yeah, there you go.
I mean, we were talking, was it just last episode, about how the long format TV format, to say it again, is so good for things like this. I mean, now that we're in the world of binge watching, where you'll sit down and watch Stranger Things or whatever, you see how much deeper and in depth the story can be.
Yeah.
I'm not doing good with words today, I'll say. Deeper and in depth, I said. But, and you realize how little you can actually fit into a 2-hour movie. So having this, as long as they use, the other side of that is it can get boring. You hear the Netflix Marvel shows, you'd always hear the complaint that it was 1 or 2 episodes too long. They had a couple of filler episodes. So as long as I can find that pattern there, I think this would be awesome. My preference would be the live action Clone Wars. But I don't
need it.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I was always pissed that Revenge of the Sith started at the end of the war. I'm like, the whole thing's building up to this war, and then
We've seen so much of the Clone Wars now because of that series.
yeah, and then the cartoons were good.
They're really good, and they're canon. So
Yeah,
you
and
don't
they're
really
coming
need to
back
do
for
that.
another season, right?
yeah.
So, I just can't
something like
believe
that, so.
that it seems like forever ago. I think it was even before.
Oh, it's
was-
only been 59 minutes. We still got 1 more minute left.
Oh.
It hasn't been that long.
No, wow, we are running. For
Oh,
a
you're
while
talking about
here.
something else.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, I thought you meant the show.
Threw me off there. It feels like forever ago that we started talking, and it was before the Lucasfilm Disney merger that we started talking about a live action TV show that would just keep coming up and keep not surfacing and not getting developed. And now we're a couple months away from having the first one and then having another one. It's crazy.
I've come to believe that rumors are what motivate. That rumors are real. It's kind of like what they do in bringing it back to politics. It's kind of like what they do in politics, where they put out a trial balloon.
Right.
So they put out a rumor. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a Star Wars live action series, and somebody spreads that, and if it catches on like wildfire, then the studio looks into pursuing it.
Oh, absolutely. In the age of the internet, they'd be
yeah.
stupid if they didn't do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I feel like that's what keeps happening, and especially in regards to Star Wars and Marvel and some of these other places, where they rely on fans.
right.
I think they tend to drop these things, which is why you see some of these bullshit sites with these stories, because that's usually what these things always start off with, these bullshit sites
yeah.
that either make up shit or they never report anything accurately. You drop a line to one of those people about something that might be coming up, and
They go
and
ape
then-
shit
and
and
then-
write
and then it
500
spreads,
words on it. Yeah.
and then a comic book movie picks it up, and then somebody else picks it
So
up.
funny using comic book
and
movie because
then-
that's the one site I was thinking of.
Comic book movie
'Cause
sucks. It's a
They
terrible site.
always, every single week. I listen to all the Kevin Smith podcasts, right? And he does Fat Man Beyond with Mark Bernardin.
Yep.
And they just talk about, they do what we're doing right here. And every single week on Monday or Tuesday, I see comic book movies saying, Kevin Smith thinks Thanos will be back for next, and it all goes back to during the show that he was like, oh, I think it'd be cool if Thanos came back or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 words, and he actually makes fun of it on the podcast now all the
Yeah,
time.
he should, and
Yeah.
because that's what I mean. It's all about clicks, right?
Yeah.
So if you frame something the right way, it looks like it's a bigger story than it actually is. I mean,
Right.
there's all these sites that do that. Screen Junkies, all these sites do this shit where they take something and they blow it out of proportion.
Right.
They never report something accurately. Somebody mentions, "Hey, I'd like to do this role. Such and such is up for this role." I was like, "No, that's not what it. It's not what he actually said.
Yeah.
It's not what it actually is."
I mean, I just don't know if it's.
I try not to do that on our site.
They'd be
so.
stupid if they didn't do it, but at the same point, I don't.
I guess
know.
we're stupid then because I don't do it.
No, not us. Right on it. I mean, the studio's putting the info out. I mean,
Oh.
they'd be stupid if they didn't do it. They need to fine tune how much stock they put in the results they get. Because I mean, we can go back to Snakes on a Plane and see when the internet.
You bring that movie up more than anybody
I
else
do,
in the goddamn
because
world. Nobody else. I
it
haven't
is-
heard one other person bring up Snakes on the Plane, since it came out. But you have brought it up like 10
It
times
is
since
the
we've been doing
template for-
this show.
for the stupidness of following internet rumors and hype. I mean, that's.
Was there hype
for what?
for Snakes on the Plane?
There was before it came out. That's what I'm saying. It's the prototypical internet hype. Everybody's like Snakes on a Plane, Snakes on a Plane. Oh my God, Snakes on a Plane. It comes out and made like $7. I mean, and
I think it actually did okay.
no, my story sounds better if it made $7.
I think it actually did all right.
Yeah.
Now you got me wanting to look it up.
God, you're as bad as my wife. You're pulling it up to prove me wrong now, aren't you?
I need to know. Now you brought it up. Now I want to know.
Yeah. But,
I thought it did okay.
I think Ewan McGregor, he wouldn't be coming back to it. without.
I like that I don't even have to type it in full. I can just type in snakes,
Yeah.
and it comes up.
And that's because your damn tablets listen
It
to
made
us.
62 million.
Did it?
Yeah,
Well-
cost 33.
Whatever.
So it did well.
All right, I won't reference snakes on a plane.
That's not the
anymore,
point. No, whether its box office doesn't really matter. The fact is, Snakes on the Plane had a lot of hype beforehand, you know, and then what it really is basically a sci-fi channel movie with Samuel L. Jackson on it.
Right.
That's really what it is.
Because I mean, going back to politics again, the silent majority has always been a thing. But in the world of the internet, it's the extremely loud minority. I mean, who you hear from, the internet can be blown up with, we all love, Channing Tatum for Gambit, and what you're actually hearing is you're hearing the thoughts of 100, 200 people. You're not hearing the thoughts of 2 billion people like it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it's like once again in politics, you take, when people write letters to you, you assume that that one letter represents 1,000 constituents.
Right.
So if you got 100 letters about a particular issue, you got to multiply that in your head. Like, okay, this might be an actual thing I need to pay attention to.
Whereas what you really have is bored, soccer moms yelling about stuff they don't.
Well, the thing is, if people take time to write letters, that's something they take very seriously, and there's probably a lot of other people that take it seriously. So that's it's kind of the same thing. You get somebody who. You get people who are excited about a certain thing that might be happening. You got to assume that there's a certain group of people outside of them,
right,
that are really excited about it. So,
well,
anyway,
now we're running up on an hour, but I want to get to this next thing that I could be wrong. I don't see how we could mix politics into it, but just real quick,
this one,
Dolomite. Eddie Murphy is about to be a comeback. I mean, he just made Dolomite. Everybody's going crazy for it. It looks awesome. He's back in the place where he likes to be, where he's kind of got makeup on. And
they call me Dolomite, or is it My Name is Dolomite?
My Name is Dolomite. And he just arrived to start shooting. It sounds like it's raining here. Just arrived to start shooting Coming into America 2.
Is it actually raining?
I think it's raining.
Shit, was it supposed to rain today?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Blue skies out, but he's going to Coming to America 2, which it has the entire cast returning.
The entire cast is coming back for that.
When Dreamgirls came out, everybody thought Eddie Murphy was making a comeback, but he didn't. And now he's got My Name is Dolomite. Was it Rudy Ray Moore?
Rudy Ray Moore. To be
Ray
fair,
Moore.
he didn't come back after Dreamgirls, largely because of himself. He didn't want to. He didn't do more outside. He probably could have.
Right.
He could have.
I mean, he's Eddie Murphy. Honestly, if he wants to and he can get out of his own way, he can always do whatever. Say what you will about the guy. He's one of the most talented entertainers we've seen in the last 75 years. But I am always. This is the blaxploitation era has only had, strangely, because it's such a fascinating aspect of filmmaking in Hollywood, has only had a couple of movies talking about. You have Jackie Brown, which isn't really. It's more of like a homage. It's not really about that. You have, what was the one with Michael Jai White?
Black Dynamite.
Black Dynamite.
Just satirizing it.
Yeah, satirizing it. And now you have one that's actually about one of the guys that spearheaded one of the most well-known movies.
Yeah.
I'm a white kid from suburban Maryland, and I knew the name Dolomite when I was 10 years old.
I was talking to my buddy Chris Bumbray from JoeBlow.com, and we were both like, yeah, whenever I hear Dolomite, we both were saying the exact same things. Like when we hear Dolomite, we think of the scene in Great White Hype, where Damon Wayans' character is watching a scene from Dolomite right before his fight.
Right.
And it's like, that was how we first heard about Dolomite, was that movie. And then we went and found Dolomite and watched it. It's like, yeah, it's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dolomite, Rudy Ray Moore was a comedian. He sold a bunch of comedy albums, and he'd heard this urban legend about this guy named Dolomite, this super pimp, basically, and he just took that idea and he turned it into a character,
right.
Which he did on stage. He sold a bunch of albums, and then he basically used the money he made from album sales and his stage performances to finance this movie himself with some of his colleagues and friends and stuff like that. So Dolomite is great. There's another one that he did after that wasn't so great, and I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, if you haven't seen Dolomite, you should definitely check it out. And this movie looks like it could be fantastic.
It does, yeah.
It looks like it's got the right tone.
That's
it's
what I
going to
couldn't
be
tell though. Because it seemed like it looked and felt like it could be dramatic, but it also sounded like it was going to be a comedy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And I think
Okay,
that's
so
I think that's the right way to play it.
Yeah.
It's directed by Craig Brewer, who did Hustle and Flow, Black Snake Moan.
Some pedigree there.
Yep, right guy. I think he also did that Tarzan movie from a few years ago too. So
I mean, and you
he's
got
not
this is
always
like
great.
like a Quentin Tarantino job here in the sense of bringing back old actors and putting them in possible career remaking roles. I mean, you have Wesley Snipes in there, you have Eddie Murphy, like we talked about, other people that don't need it relaunched.
Wesley Snipes, who's also going to be in Coming to America.
Yes, they must have had a great time on the set of Dolomite, or
have.
My Name is Dolomite. Let me say it right.
too. Must have. Yeah.
And
Pretty cool.
Michael Keegan. What is his name?
Keegan Michael Key.
Keegan Michael Key. You know, something like that. He's in there, a bunch of stuff.
Craig
But-
Robinson. A lot of people in
Yeah.
this movie.
So that looks like it's going to
Looks
be a
awesome.
blast. A trailer just dropped the other day. You can catch that trailer and all the other trailers that came out at punchdrunkcritics.com.
Yep.
That's where you can read our stuff every day, mostly his stuff, if I'm being honest. But you can check us out every day there. We're here every Sunday at 2 pretty much. And if you subscribe, you'll get all the notices when we come back online and we're live. If you're in here, just get us on the chat. Anything else we need to talk about?
Nope, I think that's it.
Cool.
Time to wrap it up.
All right, man. Till next time, we'll see you guys later. I'm John.
Later. I'm Travis.
Bye.
Bye.